to a mic,
We're
and in
gonna
some
make it to a
cases,
mic.
we don't expect like the booming voice or the beaming light or deep. Well, you're being malicious to the person, or it's not a. All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Bridging the Gap with Bill Shy, Scooby, and Mac. And today's discussion will be about good versus evil, and just understanding the different mechanics in that particular juxtaposition. But before we go there,
make sure y'all get tuned in and tapped into all the social medias. I'm at Scooby the Kid 252, at Chef Mac 1523, at Oso Shy 11, at Bill_Perry, and at Bridge the Gap 77. Get tuned in and tapped in, and have a Merry Christmas coming up, or Thanksgiving, I guess.
well, yes, first.
Thanksgiving.
We hope you had a happy Thanksgiving.
right. Indeed. Well, now, Mac.
Yeah. How are we doing? This should come out sometime around the first week of December.
Shy.
Yeah, doing great. I think that, that this is going to be, a nice holiday. So I'm looking forward to it and being with family. And that's all we can be with right now. So I'm very thankful for it.
And what she means is by immediate family that she's been around. We want to be careful out here,
Yeah.
with the travels and the like, and not try to create a bunch of super spreader events and all this and the like. But everybody have a safe and happy holiday season out there. And I guess with that said, I'm kind of like my sis, I'm anticipating the holidays and getting past the longest year in history. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's been a growing year too. There's been a lot of growth this year for, I think, a lot of us and everything once we look back at this year and not just concentrate on the negatives and such. All right.
Facts, I would agree. Got Raquel here, you know what I'm saying? So we cooking up some crazy music, and it's been a vibe. I'm having a good time, ready for the holidays, and yeah.
All right.
Doing good.
Same, anticipating Christmas and all that stuff, and I hope I have a good holiday. Sadly I have to work on Christmas, but I get time and a half, so I get extra money.
Hey.
So it's a win-win.
That's right. Right.
And then hopefully going to my dad's for Christmas.
All
so
right.
I enjoy it down there.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess, is there anything else that we need to cover before we get into this?
I don't believe so.
I don't think there's anything in the news per se.
Gucci Man versus Jeezy. The battle was really dope. I like
Okay. I've heard that, but I heard that Jeezy exercised a more mature route, as it were.
Yeah,
but it's just like, it's Gucci Man. I mean, what do you expect? It's going to be,
It's like, I don't want to get too much into it, but it's like, we not in '05 no more. Jeezy talking about we in '05, let's bring it back to '05. And it's like, yeah, it's mature, but you also kind of shot at Gucci back in the day. So, like, I don't know if you got the right to be mature. But it was great. They did So Icy at the end. It was great for hip-hop, with all the people passing away. It was good to see that.
Exactly. Matter of fact, you just put it right there. Considering in light of the things going on in hip-hop, the tragedies, it was, it's good that these versus things are continuing to go forth, showing these guys and stuff, as it were, to not sound too punny, but bridging gaps with each other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. And maybe we can, take it into like, the good and evil conversation right there with like, maybe just intention when we talk about good and evil, is that a factor when we factor in?
Well, let's say it like this right from the door: good versus evil as a topic. Now, obviously, good and evil, as it were, is predicated on the perceptions of humans.
Right.
What we perceive as good and evil. You know what I'm saying? No other life forms share our concerns or interest in what we think is good or evil inherently in the universe or in nature and so on and so forth, or of our actions. You know what I'm saying? Like, if a cat witnesses a murder, it's like, okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't go through any, song and dance about trying to understand the parameters of it. If it was of evil intent and this and that and the other, it witnessed the demise of another life form.
Right.
But, because of the human mind, we like to ponder what is the intent behind, not even so much destroying life or whatever, but just evil intent in general, malice, things with malice intent, to deceive people, to backstab them and all these kinds of things. What motivates them to do that, as well as what motivates one to take on the cloth and or to do activism and to take on things that we consider inherently good for humankind and the human condition. And I'd like to start there, but later on down the line, I'm going to go a little bit broader and talk about, really that there is no such thing, honestly. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to start there now. I do want to discuss these things as we look at them now before we kind of eviscerate, that, as it were.
It's one thing that I've like always thought, and this is like a super off the wall statement, but in my mind it like makes sense. Like you take a person like Hitler, for example. Yes, he was evil to us. He did a lot of evil things in most people's eyes, but I don't think he thought he was doing evil.
Okay, here's where it gets slippery. Because intent, right? Mm-hmm. He intended to eradicate a group of people.
And that seems evil in sentence, right?
I mean, it is.
It is.
It doesn't seem. It is.
It is. Yeah. True.
It is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To eradicate your own kind for any reason at all. You don't see that with no other species out there. Now you will see some tumultuous shit, tribal type shit or turf type shit or air. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, there's some beef going on where like killer whales are fucking giving it to the white sharks, the great white sharks. And the great white sharks is some bad motherfuckers. Killer whales are like, yeah, but we better. Fuck you. And now fucking great white sharks are washing up on beaches and. But this is some, at least for our eyes, some recent shit. It could be something that go back millions of years because sharks are millions of years. They go back to the dinosaurs and shit.
Yeah.
So who knows how long that beef may have been going on as far as why that plays out. But now check this out. Is it good and evil to them? And I'm going to say one more thing and then we'll pass it around here. Y'all ever seen that Wile E. Coyote cartoon where he clocks in and the sheepdog is like, good morning, Bob. They're like, good morning, Phil. And he clocks in before he starts going into his day to try to, the coyote that is, Wile E. Coyote, to get sheep. And the dog is always thwarting his efforts throughout the whole time. And this plays out for whatever amount of time it plays out. But he literally clocks in before it starts, right? Because it's a cartoon. And then when it's all over with, after hours of trying to do this, and if he doesn't succeed, he clocks out and he's all like beat the shit. The dog and beat him up and see you tomorrow, Phil. See you tomorrow, Bob. And and it's like it plays out again. And it makes you wonder: does the antelope and the lion look at each other like that? Mm-hmm. Where the antelope is like, okay, I see you over there, Mufasa. Mm-hmm. Say you didn't catch me yesterday, but your ass may catch me today if I'm slipping. So I gotta be leery, of you. And that's where it is. Like the lion's not throughout the whole day thinking, I'm going to kill this particular antelope, like the way humans are. We go in with this malice and we hone in on a particular subject or an object to berate it with our whatevers, our anger and this and that and the other. Whereas the lion's is like, no, whenever one of these motherfuckers in the group slips, if that antelope slips when, they're chasing the whole group of them and that one motherfucker slips, okay, guess what?
Right in front of his
antelope shots tonight. How? You know what I'm saying? Because you slipped. Not because you're the this or the that to the that. You were the weaker one as far as the group. And yes, it's sad to us, but it's like, no, that's how it goes down. And now here's where it can get a little tricky. That is nature.
Yeah.
We want to get spiritual or biblical. God creates nature. God allows for that to play out.
Thanks.
But within the constructs of the human code, as far as our tenements, and say, like the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not kill.
But we go to war.
But we go to war.
And how is that not?
Thou shalt not covet, but we're still jealous of one another.
Right.
And so on and so on and so forth. I believe these were like bylaws that was really trying to help to hone in on civilizing man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You should honor thy mother and thy father. You shouldn't steal. You shouldn't kill, and all these kinds of things that are in there.
Right.
But it's like, but then, there's things that get a little, well, at least there's this one thing as far as like deifying, thou shalt not worship no other God but me, which makes God a jealous God, as you hear religious people saying, my God is a jealous God. You're a religious zealot say that and stuff like this. But think about the connotations of that.
That doesn't make sense. Like what?
I created the entire universe, and I'm going to be jealous of what my life form creates what it thinks is a better life or a better sentient, deity to revere. And I'm sitting here realizing, no, I'm the one that created you. I can give two shits that you create some religion on your little dot of a planet in my cosmos.
Yeah. Because
why would you be jealous? If you consider, because when I think of like God,
Yeah.
You know, it ain't just about the events of what we wrote in our Bible and, you know, like, no, God, like, created all this shit that Hubble and all these motherfucking telescopes and shit taking pictures of. If there's really an entity like that out there, do you think it sits around and ponders what's good and bad on what's going on in our planet? Like, if we even have a war where there's a nuclear explosion in the cosmos, that's not even that. We're not even a pixel. We're not even a pixel.
Actually, what I know you said you wanted to talk about it later, but
We can get into it now.
Well, that's what I believe. I don't believe in good or evil. I believe there's karma. You know, I mean, things can follow you if
Put out a certain kind of energy.
Yeah, you put out a certain energy, and whether it's good or bad, that can come back. But I just got through watching this thing about scientists' theories about the end of the universe and how everything is just practically going to explode, and there's going to be nothing but black holes, and even the black holes are going to explode, and then eventually it's just going to be nothing. So when you really think about our time in history, which is like 75 to 80 years on this planet, and good versus evil, it's actually, it doesn't make sense, you know, because time is going to continue to go on, and we're just a minor blip, like you said, not even just a pin dot.
And what goes on in the cosmos
and you're
is
gonna,
not about us.
And then you have like the entire universe that has eons and eons and eons to go, quadrillions of years, you know, not trillions, quadrillions and trillions of years to go before the suns even start exploding from these young planets that are not even being born yet. So, and then if you consider, what if there are other universes and other physics? So
What's good
what's
and evil?
good and evil? Yeah.
Let me ask
what
you,
we believe and the things that we have made up, things that we have created throughout history that now has played a big part in our society and how we have gone about things. That's what
I will
think.
say this, you know, because I'm going to challenge both of us, because I was saying that too, but I also know this. In the human history, we have infanticide, or I don't know if I'm saying the word right, where we've killed off our own young and stuff like that because of certain reasons.
That's fucked up.
But see, what I was going to say
And that's
is,
in the Bible.
yeah, there's all kind of things where, and other religious doctrines about advocating the killing of children for a greater good and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, the killing of virgins and
They
stuff like
wanted
this.
to
And,
kill Moses.
you know, the
so
young
they-
in general, because their blood was pure, blah, blah, blah. There's numerous of doctrines you can look up, you know. Yeah, it is nuts. But consider this, nuts if we put it in the constructs of good and evil.
And when you consider,
And we consider that to be, that's an evil thing, because that
but
children...
also you have to consider what we think in our society. This is like what, how many thousands of years ago, and how they believe.
Okay, in our society, it is insane to consider eating your children, but there's other mammals that do just that. They kill them, they eat them. The fucking rabbits, they'll eat certain, you know. The mother will do it. And are there other rabbits that would judge that one rabbit and go, damn, that rabbit is an evil mother? Or no, shit, I would have done that too, because damn, consider. And then the human brain, oh my God, that's evil. To eat your own children, or to sacrifice your children in any way, that is evil. Evil.
And evil, I like how you could kind of equate to a bad feeling. If it makes you feel bad, you would probably assume that it's evil. If it makes you feel that it's...
But the feeling could be a condition.
Yeah,
we have been
true.
conditioned. Like, for example, you get a little bit of an irking feeling when you run a stop sign because you know it's illegal.
Yeah, facts.
That's a conditioned feeling. That is not bad for the world to run a stop sign. It's bad for traffic and the human construct of traffic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we've been conditioned that, oh, if I do this in traffic, and there's this feeling of guilt, but that's not a real innate, you know, jerk reaction. That's something that we condition ourselves to feel.
Right.
I mean, something like marijuana, which is a
natural plant.
A natural plant.
But
that
go
is-
smoking in front of a police department, you get all...
And not just that, but when you get to the religious part of it, you know, I mean...
Yeah, some people think it's evil.
Yeah.
And, you know, I at this point, you know, I'm kind of getting like pop, like I'll mess with biblical people and stuff. And it's just like, okay, so you do realize it's a plant. The God that you worship created all, right? Including this plant. Oh, I even go worse with them. I'm like, you do realize that God also made Lucifer, right? You start fucking. What are you trying to say? What do you mean? What am I trying to say? Do I need to show you in your own Bible where he was the freaking North Star and was the most beautiful angel in heaven before he fucking fell? Like, do I, the heathen, gotta remind you? You know what I'm saying? Because when you say it like that, it's almost like they put the devil so far away from them that they forget. Like,
it's a part of them.
It's a part of it. He was, if you want to go there, like he was in heaven. What made Lucifer wake up one day and go, man, I'm better than my daddy?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm better than my creator. Fuck this motherfucker. I'm going to get a couple other guys. And guess what? Those angels, see, people only put the emphasis on Lucifer. How about the ones he brainwashed? There was an all-out war in heaven, right?
Yeah.
There was an all-out war. So that means there was a whole bunch of other angels going, man, you know what? I'm feeling what Lucifer talking about.
Gabriel,
and Michael, all the archangels and stuff, you know what I'm saying? It's like, hey.
And people name their children after him.
Hey, Michael's one of my favorite names, ironically.
Everybody knows a Mike.
Yeah, we all know a Mike. We all know a Mike, you know.
We're
and in some
related to a
cases,
Mike.
we know maybe we've met a Gabriel and forget some.
Yeah, right.
I'm sorry, Gabriels, all the Gabriels out there. I'm sorry.
I know Gabriel. He's a very wonderful guy.
Yeah, y'all are rare. Y'all even know y'all rare. You ain't gonna name your kid Gabriel. Gabriel, you are not gonna name your kid Gabriel. I bet you $10.
Now, Gabriella is pretty. I know we're getting off.
That's like Anthony.
like
It's like name your kid Anthony. Anthony? What the shit is that? And I know there's Anthony Hardaway. I'm sorry, Anthony, but I bet you don't like your own damn name. God damn it, come on now. Your name is evil now. I'm sorry. Oh, damn. Now I'm going to get all kind of rights. I don't care. I invite it. Yeah. I'm like, Scooby, come on. Get it in the comments. Bring it. Shit.
That brings me to something we talked about, and I believe I want to say it's episode 3, spiritualism.
Oh.
And I remember I brought up the point of, this is all the way around a way to kind of say what you just said, is that if heaven is so great, why did Lucifer rebel? And that brings me to a quote that I just looked it up. I couldn't find out who said it first, but it says, to be a hero in any way possible, you have to be the villain of somebody else's story.
Ooh,
and that takes me to good and evil is subjective.
And it is. See, this is what we're all getting at. I think that's what essentially the language of what we're saying is that it is subjective. But you have to be careful with that because there are things that I guess it's hard to discern what is, like you said, there's a knee-jerk reaction to something that is inherently evil. Like if I witness someone slaughtering a baby, to me, that is inherently evil.
It's like you said,
to me, you know, and a lot of humans.
To a lot of people.
But like the Aztecs, that's what they did.
See what I'm saying?
That was part of their
Subjectivity. It was a part of their culture. The elite believed it.
Yo, it's like you said with the stop sign and like you said marijuana. Like my whole thing with marijuana and why like I've always just been very open about smoking is because it's not hurting nobody. I'm not doing anything to anybody else. When I run a stoplight, I could crash into somebody else. So I should follow the law so the collective can be better in that aspect.
So that conditioning is a positive.
Yes, and
And the
that's
stop sign is more or less a reinforcement to remind you, hey, look, you can't just be out here.
Yeah.
You may crash.
There's other people out here.
You can kill somebody, so stop, motherfucker.
Yeah, and
you know. Excuse my language. Sorry.
Okay, that brings me to another thing: seatbelts.
That's a modern thing, right?
So me not wearing my seatbelt does not hurt you, Bill.
No, it does not.
But it puts me at risk.
And that's the job of the automobile companies. They want to ensure that their vehicles are safe for that.
So they're not liable.
Not liable. Shy, I don't know, maybe we saw the tail end of it, I'm not really sure. But there was a time where seatbelts was not the thing.
Oh, I used to stand up and hug Dad around the neck while he drove.
And cops didn't care, it wasn't it wasn't a legal issue. And I think certain vehicles didn't even make it a part of their thing until on down the line. And again, now here's the kicker, right? Now it's not so much a good and evil question, but it's kind of a subsidiary, right and wrong.
Yeah.
Would it be right for a company to realize that this is a risk factor, but since it's not a demand by the people or by governments to say have a seatbelt, say, I don't know when they put it in. I'm just going to assume, say the 70s somewhere, okay? All right, say, and I'm going to make up a year. If it's fake, I'm admitting that it's not the real information. 75. Okay, say 75 was the year that they implemented, you must have seatbelts in your car. All right. Now, prior to that, was it wrong for the company to have not implemented it up to that point?
If they knew it was a risk, yes.
Yeah,
But it's a vehicle,
it
right? It's a risk.
It comes down to morally, right? If you're the owner of Ford and you start getting the research, like, damn, these people are dying, I might need to put seatbelts in there, and you don't. That's evil.
That's wrong.
Because you got the stats that's telling you. But see, check this out, right? Now, we're saying that as just people, but from the business mind, they're looking at it if it's not a liability.
Yo.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like, well, if people out there crashing is not impeding people wanting to buy our cars.
If X doesn't equal...
you remember the Fight Club? I'm like, yeah, exactly. When Eric Norton, his character was breaking down that shit. Exactly. And that's some real shit, too. If statistically, if your product is not in... If there's like what we call that today a recall. When something is dangerous, there's a recall. Tires, certain type of tires. I think Goodyear, some company has some issue with tires, so they recall them and shit. We see it with certain food products and shit, and so on and so forth.
I'm just going to mention it, that product Proactive. I know you guys have heard of that for pimples.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, well, you remember what it did to me? Well, there's a certain section of the population that is highly allergic. I'm one of them. I found out the hard way. To this product is something in the product, benzoid I forget what it's called.
Yeah.
But
they know that they got this information.
Yeah, they know.
So if you continue forward,
yeah, because not enough people are having an allergic reaction for them to recall it.
I think there's a certain type of psychological mind. Is it atypical or something? That's a business type of brain where they don't look at the value of the life. Be it like if they have to, these are the kind of people that we've talked about this before also in the past, where these are the kind of people that can annex 30,000 jobs because it benefits the company.
Yeah.
Those type of people, not realizing that these are 30,000 lives, each individually, all hoping, but because we have to downsize, we got to cut you all. Yeah. These are the type of people that when they find out information like that, for example, about a product, and to kind of bring it back to our good and evil thing and more or less the subsidiaries of right and wrong. Does that make them an evil person? Does that make them evil or evil? I feel like that's such an extreme. I think it's saying wrong is like right one step below being evil. Like if you're wrong about something, you can correct that behavior and become right, as it were, with yourself. Yeah. But if you're evil, you don't give a damn.
Yeah, but this is like a whole company of people that's making this decision.
Like I think serial killers in my brain are evil because their intent is to snuff life to please themselves. Yeah. When Jeffrey Dahmer and Ted Bundy and all these kind of people, when they killed, it was to please themselves.
But the Son of Sam, though, he was getting told by his dog, and it's like, well, is he evil or is his dog evil?
But he knew snuffing life was wrong. Yeah, he was a grown man.
True.
You know what I mean? He knew in killing these people. Now, I do agree that he felt that there was perhaps a greater cause.
And that's what tricks me out.
And that's where it gets slippery because as you mentioned about Hitler, who felt like he was doing the right thing. Slavery, all the evil things that it was written off as the right thing to do. Even what we were talking about earlier about sacrifices. Now, we look at that now. If we woke up one day and we saw a family about to sacrifice their baby.
God, what the fuck?
Evil. They're evil. They're, medieval motherfuckers. Blah, blah. We're ready to fucking, throw
medieval.
them. We're ready to throw everything at them as far as the emotional.
Instance, you're rich and you die and you have to kill your entire staff and bury them with you.
Oh, shit.
That's what the Egyptians
did.
Yeah.
And their maids went with them. Their motherfucking butlers and the slaves went with them and shit. Hell yeah.
Animals.
Because look, when they went to the nether realm, they had to have all that with, it's like, hey, I got to have all this.
Yo, like.
Could you imagine that shit?
Yo, that shit blows my mind because you hear the stories of like, they took their, their belongings with them. I didn't know they were taking people
they
with
took
them.
Motherfuckers with them.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
In some cases, not in all cases. But hell, it could have just been one case. Shit. It's enough to just go like, really?
And like, it just makes you wonder, like, that's why like a collective and having the conversation about good is evil good because as we're having this conversation, those Egyptians probably didn't have anybody telling them like, that might be wrong.
They were the hierarchy
Yeah.
That told everybody else what was going on.
Yes.
The pharaohs were the things that there were people that were connected to the gods.
Or
Sun
half
Ra
gods,
and,
so they say.
yeah, and were half gods themselves, demigods and stuff like that. They went beyond being just a king or an emperor. It's like, no, man, I'm half god.
Yeah,
Fuck
they
you.
were
I'm half god.
I'm the daughter
That's
of
the
Isis.
big. Besides saying you're a God yourself, that's that takes some balls.
It does.
And guess what? If your ass looked at the motherfuckers back in them days, man, but shit. And a lot of people took points with that. I mean, in ancient Rome, in ancient British Empire, you could look at the kings and shit and stuff like that. As a peasant, off with his head. This motherfucker looked at me. You know what I'm saying? He tainted my spirit with his fucking peasant eyes. Off with his head. You know what I'm saying? These motherfuckers thinking that they're connected. And so the question becomes like, every era is depicted on what its moral standing is in the moment. We look back with this.
With our moral standing.
Yeah, with our hierarchy, as it were, of moral standing in terms of like, we've had all the other history as a way of looking back to go, well, we're better than the such and such. They were killing their own children. They were sacrificing their own people. They had slavery back then. They did this to the such and so on and so on. But it's just like, but consider where we're at right now. And perhaps, 100 years from now, we're going to be a big joke where, I posted up this other thing where it's just like, you are being spied on by your future self from your memories.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because when we look back on ourselves, we are a reflection. We look back at our memories and we're looking in on ourselves, remembering the things we did. This is going to be a memory one day. And we're going to look back and remember where we were sitting, what we were doing. And our future self is already looking at us.
I think most people...
I went somewhere else. I'm sorry, y'all.
I think most people back in the day, it's a proven fact. Most people sat there and watched slavery, watched Jews get killed, and didn't do a fucking thing. Some people did.
And guess what? It was the law.
Right, it was the law. And it's like, I think in 100 years, we're going to look back and be like, we put people in concrete cages and left them in there for 24 hours, and we thought that was going to make them better. It's like...
I thought it was going to impede motherfuckers from wanting to come here and all these different things that they sell us on the idea of why they did what they did with those. Yeah. It was just inhumane, period. And in the instance, it's just like with World War II. I know it can be argued ad infinitum in terms of the merits of using and shit, Fat Boy and the two bombs and shit. Boy, you know what I'm saying? Little Man, and doing what we did with the Japanese and shit with Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And it was the most atrocious response. People skin melting off of them. But, and I hate to say this, but I say this but very carefully, but it's like, but these are the same group of people that were sending their own kamikaze style. You know what I'm saying? They're the reason why our asses even got in the war. The Germans didn't incite us to go in. It was the Japanese. Like, fuck your Pearl Harbor. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden, now all of our news is tech. All the information that we have been gathering, now we were fucking coming forth with it.
Yeah.
Prior to fucking Pearl Harbor, there was a fucking Nazi fucking whatever to have you at the Madison Square Garden. A big rally and shit.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? So it's like we had the intel and people knew and so on and so forth. But literally now we're waking up and our boys are on fire on boats. Yeah. It's like,
trapped in that bitch. Like,
you know what I'm saying? Dude, actually I just saw a picture here recently where it shows Pearl Harbor. One of the ships, it was right under one of the modern ships.
USS Arizona.
Is that the one?
Yep.
You can still see it, and guess what? It's still leaking oil.
Still leaking oil, yep.
No shit.
You can literally like...
That happened in the fucking 40s, man! You know what I'm saying?
There's people like, imagine the screams.
That happened before our parents were born, Shy. That happened before our parents were born.
Fucked up about that ship, which it's not fucked up. It is, but it isn't. I believe the family said that they didn't want the people to be taken out of the ship. That is their final resting place.
Oh yeah, leave me there.
I kind of understand that. Yeah. Speaking of which, I don't know how long it was, but when the Titanic sunk, they found it in modern times.
Yeah.
I don't remember what year it was, you know what I'm saying, but they found it like in the 80s or 90s, and it was actually a scuba diving incidental, as it were. Like the guy incidentally discovered it or some shit or another. At least that's how the story goes. But, okay, so what I'm going to try to do is tie with the good and evil thing in terms of, let's bring it broader in terms of the intent of nature. Mm-hmm. When that glacier was in the way, as it were, of that boat, to make it sink, was that supposed to happen? When a fucking tornado destroys a town or a hurricane eradicates the Gulf. Now, as far as nature goes, it's just doing its thing. We're the ones that decided to build homes and create a life in all these different areas where people want to live below sea level, say in New Orleans and things like this, where things like that can play out. Or you live in a place like Florida, you know what I'm saying, where hurricanes play out. You live in a place like California where earthquakes play out, and so on and so forth. All these different places in the Midwest is about tornadoes and shit like that. It's like, well, hey, that's the Earth. The Earth has been doing all this shit before we decided to build shit, but we put it in the parameters of, that was just so evil of Katrina to wipe out, New Orleans and the coast and so on. Evil. It was a fucking hurricane that twisted and did its thing. You know what I mean? Like, I guess that's why we're trying to understand good and evil in all its regards.
I wrote a lyric the other day that said, "What's hope if the boat don't float? Whatever in a day just to go and waste away. When the Titanic hit the ice, did they know it was over? Did they drop to their knees and pray?" You know what I'm saying?
Some did, I would imagine.
It's just kind of the question of like, when the hurricane hits, you gotta just deal with it. You gotta ride that bitch out.
I actually like that because, see, what I was thinking is, if you're in the moment of tragedy, it would seem futile to pray because it's like, well, the very God, as it were, that you're praying to, put you in this instance.
He
You know what I mean? Like, if it's this God knows all and he puts you in situations where he or she, or whatever, how you want to put it, knows the outcome, because this is an omnipotent being that doesn't live in a one-dimensional, paradigm. It knows your future, past, and all this kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's the way we put God, So with all that said, if God has you in a burning house, Satan didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? As it were, in terms of the biblical shit, it's like, no, God put you in that position, right? Because, like, say if it's something not as extreme as that. Say if it's like, you got a flat tire. Oh, God's testing you today. But you can change that tire. But if you're in a burning house, now it's the devil that's testing you. It's like, why wouldn't the devil testing you when it was just a flat tire? That was just God testing you when it's something light. But when it's something heavy, the devil, is testing you. You know what I mean? Do you kind of get where I'm going with this?
You heard that joke? It's like, the guy's drowning, and he's like, "Yo, God, please save me." And the boat comes
man,
along.
I told you that joke.
You know what I'm saying? That's just hilarious. Like, but it's
I'm sure you guys have heard the joke out there. When Scooby was talking about, we was talking one day, and it's a classic joke about there's a guy drowning. Or have I already even said it? Well, I've already said it. Oh, okay. Well, essentially, there's a guy drowning. He's praying to God to save him. And as he's praying to him, an Olympic swimmer comes about, he thwarts him saying, "No, I've been praying to God to save me." I believe a guy comes by later in a boat and, no, God's going to save me. And then the ultimate, some guy comes in a helicopter and stuff, comes down, wants to pull him out of the water. No, I've been praying to God. God's going to save me. Suffice to say, he drowns and dies. Okay, spirit goes up to heaven, "Hey, God, so, I was praying to you and everything. Why'd you let me go?" "I sent you a swimmer. I sent you a boat, and I sent you a helicopter."
Like, goddamn, man.
You know what I'm saying? And see, to kind of get at, like, in terms of some of the religious zealots where they expect, like, the booming voice or the beaming light or Jesus or God himself to appear, as it were, where there's nowhere in recorded history where someone had something miraculous and the entity, as it were, really appeared.
That's why I
know what I mean?
I guess, for lack of a better word, I would have to use evil, because I equate that with, say, something a serial killer would do. But that's the way I look at evil, is the devil going into your body and making you do this. So in other words, you're not taking responsibility for your own actions, and this is what you want to do. It's not something outside of you that's making you do this. And whatever word you want to use, I guess evil is the best.
Your spirit has been corrupted.
Yeah, your spirit. It's nothing like that. I don't believe in anything like that.
The devil took over my life for a minute. I was on drugs. I was on this.
But
then I found God, and now I'm clean.
Right. It's like an excuse. It's
an excuse.
Now, mind you, I say that carefully because, for those that are looking at this, it's like, well, hey, man, motherfucker, that really helped me. Good for you.
Hey, yo, work.
You know what I'm saying? Because there are a lot of people out there where religion saved them. You know what I mean? And they got them off drugs and got them straight. So, salute to you.
I think that, the thoughts are it's like thoughts are kind of the good and bad thing. Like when you think like, "Oh man, I suck," you feel bad. When you're like, "Oh, I'm great," that's like.
Again, see, those are like subsidiary things, good and bad, right and wrong, I think are the subsidiaries of good and evil in terms of like the overall intent. Like you feeling bad about yourself
is evil.
No. That's evil?
Well, that's what
because see,
when you feel bad about yourself, you're just sad.
Well, that's what I was kind of like when Shy was saying, like the devil kind of going in your body. In my mind, that's how I take it. Like when I think negatively, that's the devil.
That's the devil tempting him.
I see. I get that. I mean, I definitely, understand that, and a lot of people, say that. But as Shy was saying, I think in a lot of ways we have to also own up and be responsible for our own actions, because it ain't enough to just simply say that some
An entity is
some
making-
malfeasant entity has harbored your spirit, and that's why you consume alcohol or do heroin and so on and so forth. There has to come some sort of confrontation with yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Outside of any entity, as it were, be it if it's interpreted as good or bad.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's someone out there that is like, hey man, Satan saved my life, and they got great jobs, they got kids, this, that, and the other. But guess what? They got a pentagram on their motherfucking palm.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, man, the Church of Satan saved me. Hail Satan.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what are you going to say if it saved them?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's all about your interpretation of the individual. And guess what? That's a slippery slope.
Mm-hmm.
Because you create bias the moment you judge someone.
100%. Yeah.
No matter if for the better or for the worse, you create a bias slant.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're all cool with each other, but we all know that there's people out there that probably don't like either one of us here. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I know this motherfucker. Okay. And that person has a slant of you.
Yeah.
Out there, I posted this up on Facebook one time. I'm like, no matter how cool you are with anybody, you're the asshole in somebody's story.
Yeah.
Just like
You know what I'm saying? When someone's telling the story, and that asshole Bill, man, blah, 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 that asshole Scooby, so on and so forth. Like, we're the asshole in somebody's story, no matter how good and righteous we've been with them, and so on and so forth, or in life, as it were.
And go ahead, honey.
We had kind of talked about decisions, and I'll let you say what you want to say, but then after that, I kind of want to talk about one of this quote, and it's sometimes the only choices you have are bad ones, but you still have to choose.
You do have to choose, and good or bad being almost subjective, because it becomes a thing of, when we look at it like that, it's like the way we will feel after. Like, I felt I did a good thing here.
Mm-hmm.
But what if the individual is like, yeah, but it was at a cost to me, or at a cost to this,
It's
or
the-
whatever have you.
Yeah.
It's the
You know what I'm
typical
saying?
like trolley situation. You got your whole family on this side, but the guy who can cure world hunger on this side,
God
and
damn
a
it.
tram's coming. Do you,
I'm
do
not-
you save your family, or do you?
See, that's what I'm saying. And then check it out. And either choice can be interpreted ad infinitum if it was a good or bad choice.
Yep.
You save your family. That was beautiful, but you could have fucking saved the guy that could have cured such and such and such. And vice versa. Oh, you did that, but goddamn, how evil are you? You let your whole fucking family get slaughtered?
Yeah.
It's a catch-22.
Yeah.
And so again, it becomes a
All
question
choices.
of probably, I think you said it earlier, about the way you feel about the decision. Because ultimately, I think it becomes, I think we all take social cues from, again, what we think is inherently evil. Like, I don't think there's a modern person alive that will allow for a kid to be abused in their presence,
Oh, no.
like a really small child.
Man.
I think there are light transgressions that we all witness and let grow. We all witness people stealing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We've all
you see, stole.
And we've all stole or something. How many times have I seen motherfuckers stealing some shit at Walmart? Or maybe even I have. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like those kind of things is like, that's a societal transgression.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's the humane transgressions of like killing someone, raping, and so on and so forth, where it's just like, well, you're being malicious to the person, or it's not a bad health decision, as it were, like say consuming drugs on your part, but you are practicing, or you are engaging in something that there's a broader scope of people that would be hurt by your actions. Like, say, for example, I hate to say it like this, but being a hard drug dealer.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a drug dealer per
You
se,
selling
but
crack, you
she's
selling heroin, you
the
selling
hard
dope.
shit
Yep.
that you have fucked that community up, but hey,
And-
you got stacks. And I'm saying that carefully because, there's a lot of parameters to that. That's why I said specifically the really, really hard shit. Because, you shouldn't be locking motherfuckers up for selling plants, in my opinion, as far as weed goes. But anyway.
The Cameron movie, it was fucking, it blew my mind. It was like when he first started selling dope, it was like, I'm gonna give this dude enough so he'll die in the grocery store so everybody knows that my shit's good. And if you're a real dope, if you really do drugs, you're not gonna die.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's a fucked up mentality,
you remember in Breaking Bad where it was like an insult to what was my man's name? White.
Walter White?
Walter White. it was like an insult to him when they made it those derivatives of his blue shit, and it was doing some bad shit to the people on the street, and he didn't want to be connected to that. He's like, my shit's pure, it's quality, there is no reaction like this, and these motherfuckers putting a stamp on my shit. You know what I'm saying? Now that's kind of a crazy slippery slope, right? Because he's producing a drug, as it were, but his drug was not the harmful version that be, you know, some sort of tainted version of his shit that was out there in the market. He didn't want to be associated with that.
Yeah, facts.
You know what I'm saying? Just like, say, let's take it to some more kind of light area, like a food or a restaurant,
Coca-Cola.
you know, or even a drink. All right. If you don't like the taste of Pepsi, that doesn't necessarily mean you won't like the taste of Coke, and vice versa.
Facts, yeah.
Even though they're both sodas.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Makes sense.
You haven't corrupted the entire soda market because your product is bad.
Well,
But then there's other things where you can't corrupt the market by, say, having bad medicine. Like, you know, if Tylenol has some fucked up medicine out there and they got to get a recall, that fucks us up. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, that's medicine, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Or in food, too, for that matter. When they do recalls on certain things, or our company was shut down, they may not remember this, but you remember a while back, Sean, when McDonald's got caught up in some controversy about having kangaroo meat?
Yeah.
No.
Kangaroo meat and shit, you know what I'm saying? And I don't think that was ever verified. I think it's just some bullshit conspiracy theory. But for a minute, like, McDonald's was under the radar by motherfuckers. It's like, but the irony was, it's like, dude, beef is beef at the end of the day. I mean, being if they killed a fucking horse for the beef, or a fucking bull, or a kangaroo. But these motherfuckers had to go to Australia to keep the burgers coming. You know, could you tell the difference when you ate that Big Mac the other day, or did you hop a little bit differently? Was there a hop in your step? Okay, then shut the fuck up. I don't know. The capitalistic in me is a good thing.
Y'all seen the meme where it's like it's just a bunch of animals on a billboard, and it's like, you know, a horse and you know, like a cat and a dog.
Where do you draw the line?
And motherfucker, it's like right here, right here, chicken and shit. And it's kind of funny, you know. It's just like.
And who's to say what society is good even for what we consume?
Right.
Because we do point our fingers, oh, they eat dog, oh, they eat such and such. But guess what? The Indians are looking at us.
Right.
Them motherfuckers eat cows.
Cows, yeah.
A sacred animal to them. I mean, we love dogs. Dogs, man, best friend in America and all this shit. But they ain't sacred to us.
Nah.
We ain't letting our dogs do anything over here. They don't let a cow fucking block up traffic over there.
That's wild.
Because it's a holy animal. And we over here, goddamn it, billions and billions and billions of these motherfuckers served.
You meant
You
India.
know what I'm saying? Big back Malaya fish.
I thought you meant Native Americans.
No, you meant Native Americans.
Oh, no, India, my guy. No, India. Yeah, no. Not the indigenous folk. You know what I'm saying? No, India, man. They're sacred animals and everything.
And
And
population over there too.
I honestly, I can't say, or at least I can't recall at the moment where I've had a conversation with someone from India about, you know, their perspective of how they see Americans because of the fact that we consume, I mean, hamburgers, man, like that's our shit. I mean, we try to
burgers and fries is like the staple.
Dude,
of
that is
American
a staple.
cuisine.
I mean, we try to act like it's about hot dogs, but I think that's just because it's connected with baseball and 4th of July, you know. But at the end of the day, there's no hot dog joints. There's hamburger joints, and we're all crowded around the motherfuckers.
I will say, hot dogs. North Carolina is fire.
I like a good hot dog.
Yeah.
But see, I mean, what society is evil, what society is good, right? Like, we consume whatever, they consume whatever, you know. Who's evil?
Yeah.
Man, they consume a man's best friend. Motherfucker, you consuming a holy animal.
I think
Who's wrong, who's right? Subjectivity.
And you know, make sure, you know, if you feel like you're right or wrong, it's okay to be right or wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just thought you was talking about Indians, you know what I'm saying? You talking about, you know, it's okay. And I think that is like...
And guess what? The moment you realized who I was talking about, your whole entire perspective of the conversation changed.
Flipped. Yeah, it was. I was thinking,
sometimes it only takes that little thing, and then when it widens up, it's like, oh shit, okay.
I gotta know.
And guess what? We need more moments like that,
That's right.
where we admit our ignorance, and it's just that little bit of window that we need widened that'll make us go, oh fuck.
Yeah.
That's where empathy lies.
Yes.
That's where empathy lies, when you can widen that window and empathize with the pain of someone, empathize with their strife,
Yes.
opening up.
And it's hard
you
to
know?
be evil if you're empathizing with somebody.
If you got evil intent. Now I will say, well, now go ahead, Mac, before I say this.
I want to say kind of what he was saying is, no matter if you think you're right or wrong, like in any instance, you just got to be kind to one another. I just kind of wanted to say that, Just because, like,
Mac,
I hear people, like,
Mac
hating
for the
on
win.
vegans.
I like that.
If you're vegan or vegetarian and you're like, oh, fuck you because you don't eat meat,
Chill
it's
with that.
cool. Yeah, be kind.
Right.
You're still a human being.
That, I'm glad that you took it there because, see, at the end of the day, that's what it all comes down to. Being able to look past all our so-called titles, as it were, our perspectives of one another.
And that's needed more now than ever.
Amen.
Oh, indeed. I think if we just slow down and empathize with one another, just being able to hear each other out. Everybody's so quick to want to say, well, my pain is blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, well, give yourself a moment to be ears.
Yeah.
Be a heart for a second, and absorb, what's coming at you, and I mean, truly being able to connect with the other person by taking them in and not, setting yourself up to, submit your pain to them.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're telling me, but I want to, one up you with my pain. You know what I'm saying? And you gonna have more tears coming out of your eyes when you hear my pain. You know what I mean?
Not really listening.
Not really listening. You know.
My ROTC teacher always told, like, he did this one class every year to every class and said, "Don't be a jackass." And the one of the middle slides that he said was never miss an opportunity to shut up.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Really real.
Because again, you got to take things in. Now I'm going to say something else real quick and everything. I guess imagine we're probably getting towards the end or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'll just say this real quick in passing, and perhaps we can all maybe be truthful about this. Intent, right? Now, oh gosh, I'm gonna kind of put us all in a slippery slope here, and I'm gonna include myself too, of course.
I like that, man.
You know what I'm saying? We've all had a person that we didn't like, and when their name was brought up in conversation, I won't necessarily say that we backstabbed them, but maybe we didn't have good things to say about them.
Oh, 100%.
Are we all not guilty of that, right? But
like
are we all
that,
evil?
yeah.
Are we all evil? Or do we have evil intent?
In that-
Because, they brought up someone's name that you're a little adverse to, and you're like, well, I ain't feeling that motherfucker, blah, 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 blah.
I would say yes.
You know.
Like, if speaking from me,
Maybe wrong. Evil would probably be
yeah,
more extreme.
like I would say that action in specific was evil in that moment. Am I an evil person? No. Did I do?
But that was an evil action.
I
Because
would
you
say-
could have
I
kept
would
your
say
mouth
maybe
shut about him.
It was mean.
Mean,
I mean,
yeah.
Evil.
It's a strong word.
Yeah, evil is
Well, that's why I kind of put that in a subsidiary package.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because, I've done it too. But now I have to say, there's been certain people that when they were brought up, I won't say that I've never been one to spread rumors about people and shit. And I can honestly say that anyone that knows me know that they never heard rumors from me or spread it by me. I've talked about rumors that I've
Call him
personally
a
heard.
bitch.
But I've never started a rumor that cycled back to me that I know I said it first. That's
Yeah.
never happened.
Yeah.
All right. But with that said, I have in my life, I've lived for some time, so I can't lie here, where again, someone's name was brought up and I found it as an opportunity to shit on their fucking name.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because it made me feel better.
Only because in my case, and it's kind of a defensive flex here, but I found out that these people did this to me behind my back and said things about me, and I kind of kept it safe. And so when their name was brought up again, it was
Yeah,
like,
Emma.
well, fuck, man, this guy's shitting on my name.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something about this son of a bitch. But you know what? Even in that instance, as you said earlier, or maybe you, choice. You
karma.
still, no matter how that makes you feel, you can still choose to go, hey, I can give this energy and power by adding on and going, well, hey, oh, you said that about me. Well, fuck you. I'm going to say this about you, and I'm going to put that fodder out there.
Yeah,
And so what?
yeah, right.
You know what I mean? And so what? Because
Listen.
even if it does anything that you hope is an intent, which in those kind of cases is some emotional shit. You hope to hurt them or make them feel bad.
Yeah.
Okay, and so you do that.
Yeah.
And then what?
Facts.
You know what I mean? And then what? They're feeling bad. And now you feel good for that. Now you're knocking on the door of being evil because you're basking in their pain.
I wouldn't say say this is evil.
Except if it's Hitler. Fuck Hitler.
This is evil, but it's like when you do things that are like momentarily making you feel good, but are not right. Like excessively drinking because you're trying to forget something is the example I'll use. In
And every swallow, I should be doing this.
right,
and
but
shit.
you're feeling good. You start feeling good. I always tell everybody that I know that if they're doing that, when you wake up, your problem's still there. And it's the same when if you talk shit about somebody, karma's gonna come back to you for that because you're not giving off good energy. You know what I'm saying? And it's like they call it the myotote in like the 4 agreements. It's like I'm blanking on the name of the civilization, but basically they say we're all like this and we got smoke, right? And like when you let go of the smoke and you realize that we're all just mirrors of each other, when I be like, yo, fuck you, I'm just saying fuck me.
Right.
Because if I wouldn't say that if I didn't feel like fuck me most of the time. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-oh, we lost our fire.
I think he just turned it off.
Oh shit.
My bad.
No, you actually make a point, but I know we can't go there right now and stuff. We're about to end this and everything, but it's a touch right at the end what you just said there, man. It is at the end of the day all about if you go in knowing, in your heart that an action that you commit is going to be in either or direction, and you can understand that third dimensionally. Like if I do this, you can see, have the foresight to know this is going to be the reaction to some end, or vice versa. An obvious one is going to be kind of funny. Like if any one of us walked up and punched one another, right now, just whop right in the goddamn nose. You know what I mean? It's like the energy from that is gonna completely shift, no matter how fucking great conversation could be going lovely. Hey man, yeah man, how was your weekend? Yeah man, yeah man. Energy change. Energy change.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Now that's the most extreme and obvious punch, you know what I'm saying? But certain ways of saying things. You have those those people that are, have that high society kind of way of dissing you. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
bless their heart. They just don't know any better.
Yeah, right.
Underestimating your intelligence.
Shit like that.
And in one big swoop, like pretty much saying, you are a stupid ass motherfucker, but they don't know any better.
Okay.
Bless their heart.
Nice way.
Evil fucking bitch is what they're saying, but it's just like, dude, so slick with it.
Southern women are the worst for that shit.
Oh, but they're the best too.
They're
the best.
I love them. Like,
they be in the company of high society, dissing everybody in there, and everybody
right.
thinking they getting complimented. Yeah. Oh, they said, bless my heart. You don't really understand what that means, do you? But anyway, we're at the end, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
that's it.
Rapid fire?
I don't have any questions.
No, it's all good. We saw shit, y'all. Welcome. Damn, what the fuck am I? Here we are at the end of yet another great episode of Bridging the Gap, where we discuss good versus evil from all kind of places with Bill, Shy, Scooby, and Mac. And we hope that you've enjoyed this. And feel free to say some things in the comments.
Make sure y'all get tuned in and tapped into all the social medias. I'm at Scooby the Kid 252, at Mac 1523, at OsoShy11, at Bill_Perry, and at Bridge the Gap 77.
There it is. Good night.
What is up, people? It is me, Chef Mac, at the end of the episode, like I normally am. I just want to say thank you for watching this far into the video. If you did, make sure you leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe and ding on that notification bell so that you can get notified every time we upload a video. Get ready for next week where, I want to say, fashion is the next topic. Maybe? Yeah, I think it's fashion. I don't know. But I will see you all in the next video, and peace out.